And we've seen the stock shed 2%. This is a $190 billion company. That's about $40 billion in market cap.
Wow. See, my guess is the price is going to surprise us to the upside. It's going to be more expensive than we were anticipating.
Okay,
that's what they usually do, isn't
what
it?
we're seeing there is a much, much better experience right now than you get on the Kindle or you get on any kind of netbook, etc. when it comes to reading. And I don't know if you can see the video that we're showing right now, Paul Kodrowski, but that looks a lot more phenomenal than the experience that I have with Kindle.
$4 billion, pardon me.
And Jobs just said in the presentation that, that they're seeing 10 hours of battery life. I'm not sure if that's with the screensaver or doing something, but nevertheless, that's what he's saying. And
it's $4 billion in market cap. My bad.
Yo, okay, Matt.
What's
you know
zero?
when? I mean, it's got all that fancy screens and all that bitmap graphics.
Looks great. The screen looks fantastic.
I just wonder how many people are going to use this thing for reading anything. I think you're going to use it to be watching web video and watching.
Why can't it be both? Isn't the idea both? Why not both? Why not everything right there?
I think that is the idea.
A lot more people watch television than read a book right now.
And
right?
isn't that their challenge?
That was Jobs' comment. That was Jobs' comment early on when asked if he was going to produce a Kindle killer, and he kind of shrugged and said nobody reads books, right? So.
Right. Right. The form factor is not the limiting factor on reading. It's time.
This is to be able to carry your movies and your TV shows with you.
Right.
It seems to me.
In fact, Paul, I wanted to ask you, obviously this has more functionality than a sling box, but a sling box where you're able to kind of use that little box, take it with you, watch what's on your DVR at home, is in some ways kind of a cheaper solution, isn't it?
Oh, it's still, as currently spec'd, it still is. That's right. And so, you know, when you come back to moving media around the house, that's, you know,
to carry the web around the house, to carry your TV around the house.
Cheaper solutions.
That's what it is.
Wait, hey, Paul, what do you think this means for the TV business?
Well, I just saw something yesterday that showed there was an inverse correlation. What was it between the level, how high your degrees had gone, and whether or not you watch TV? So I'm obviously completely unqualified to say anything about television. I've wasted my life in higher
You're too educated to watch TV? Is that what it is?
Having said all of that, I think it's great for TV, but it probably won't change much in terms of how I consume it.
You know, for television program makers, I feel like every new platform you get out there, if it takes hold, is good for the content seller. He's got more things to sell it to, more form factors to sell it for, right? For a broadcast network, for a cable network that wants you all to sit in front of the family hearth at home all at the same time and watch it, a product like this is the enemy.
But are you trading dollars for nickels and pennies? That's
so far.
Hey, Dennis,
that's the trapeze and getting from the old to the new.
Dennis, what about the idea, though, that this was going to reinvigorate old media, the New York Times, you know, the newspapers of the world? I mean, those stocks moved on the idea that this was their savior.
They did, and on that Supreme Court ruling for political ads from corporations. I'll take any help the print media can get. I mean, and it would be nice to think that content isn't the problem, that it is with print media, the form factor.
Here's another one.
I think it's the form factor, but I think, you know, hanging people's hopes on the recovery of the newspaper on this is what would I think with Samuel Johnson's quote about a man's second marriage, it was the triumph of hope over experience. So
women too.
It's nicely,
not just men.
Well, the one thing about Apple products and Steve Jobs is it does end up being kind of all things to all people. I mean, before it comes out, you're thinking, my gosh, it's going to revolutionize the world. And then every now and then it does, which is why you have to pay even more attention to it.
I would ask you guys, Jim Goldman is saying that it's significant that they're using their own chip from this. That's what, and he's our Silicon Valley guy. He says that Apple A4 chip is a big significant step and away from Samsung, away from Qualcomm, and away from Intel.
I'm actually sorry to hear that, because I think that's going to add to the underlying cost base. If you instead go with off-the-shelf chips, the price curve on that thing will come down much more rapidly. Paul, what do you say?
Yeah, again, I'm a big fan when it comes to sort of the embedded semiconductor components in these things. You go with the largest manufacturers. It's not the place to build in any kind of real engineering effort, because you drive down the cost curve so much faster on these complex multi-band wireless devices by using someone else's product.
It'll be interesting to see, Matt, whether that custom-made Apple-produced chip ends up contributing to a higher price.
This is what photos looks like.
And so far,
I can just look at everything.
There's still no sign of a price on this thing. Hey, maybe it's free.
No, but you know what? Reuters did a survey, did a poll, and in their online poll, they did 1,000 respondents. They came up with 37% of those saying they would pay between $500 to $699.
37%?
37%. But do you think there's any way it's going to be that cheap? I mean, I wouldn't think so, but...
We haven't heard that,
Well, I
right,
think
Paul?
it could be with a contract, and that's the
With a
missing
contract,
piece
sure.
here. Is obviously these things. This is a wireless device that's tied into a contract somewhere. So 600 with a contract, you want to have yet another device with yet another contract in your house. Or in
I'm
your
sorry
business.
if this is a dumb question, guys, but why would I need a contract? Why wouldn't Wi-Fi, which is free in many places, be enough for me to use this device, Paul?
This must be the one.
Well, it goes back to the Kindle case. If I want to be able to access content, books and other kinds of content, I suppose anywhere where I am, I'm often out of touch of Wi-Fi. So I'm back to the question of if you truly want persistent wireless connections, you're going to have a contract with somebody to give you that wide area connection over the existing cellular network.
But Kindle, right now, with my Kindle, I download a book wherever I want, whenever I want. They've managed to do that without me having to pay a monthly contract instead of paying for the content individually.
Like a private cellular
in the
network.
purchase price. So, there's just been a lot of speculation that this will include a contract.
Nothing-
Which would imply it'll have voice functionality as well.
Nothing beats watching Steve Jobs play with a computer. No.
But I'll tell you, here's a strange thing. This is not a lot of stage presence. I mean, Jobs is clearly fascinated and engrossed in his own product. He's not making eye contact with the crowd or with anyone in it. He's just absorbed by the screen. And it does look like a giant iPhone, doesn't it?
In addition to just looking
As someone said, it's a bit spooky watching Steve Jobs browse the web. So.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him demonstrate some of the video capabilities because I sense that is a big deliverable
Right.
here.
You're right. We've seen maps, we've seen photos, we've seen
and
newspapers.
pictures, and there's another photograph, and we've seen web pages, all very pleasantly displayed. But what you really wonder is, give me some of that nice video from Hulu or YouTube or wherever where I can see what I'm really going to get here. I mean, that's
Tyler,
cool.
From what I understand, I mean, we're feeding video out not from the outside, not from the inside. From the inside, Jim Goldman saying he's showing wet and woofy in high def from YouTube. I plead ignorance on what that is, and he also was showing clips of the movie Up. So
Okay.
that hasn't come to our eyes
Well,
yet.
that we just
Disney
haven't
film.
got.
Nice little Disney plug there, since Jobs is the largest holder individual in Disney.
And why
David,
not?
David Faber joins us as well. David, we've been talking about the fact that we don't have a price point yet on this particular item.
Right.
The speculation by Paul Kudrowski, maybe $1,000. Too high, you think? What do you think?
I'm curious to see where the price point is, like so many of you.
It does
And of
everything.
course,
It could replace everything. So maybe it's a bargain at $1,000.
maybe it is, and Apple investors certainly want to know. But, interestingly, Sue, in talking to some people out there who focus, of course, on media, there are implications for this device that I know you guys have talked a bit about that are significant that people are trying to figure out as well right now. Not today, perhaps not tomorrow, but eventually. For example, we're going to have the 4th generation of wireless services in 2011, let's say, when it really becomes. But the stuff you're going to be able to deliver, live motion video, robust to a device like this, is going to be very, very significant. And so you're going to have a proliferation of these types of devices. And that raises an issue, for example, about video. Are you going to have a situation where people are carrying these things around, setting them up places, and no longer need cable television?
Exactly.
Because they're,
Hold